do 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 do. I can be your bodyguard. You can be my long lost pal. Hey, Jesus, take this, Snitch. Don't kill yourself today. Fourth walled, personable, embodied commentary of Pastor Pal Banderclay's smash hit. Why we fight about center-set attentionality while seeking authenticity from matching profilicity. Why we fight about center-set attentionality while seeking authenticity from matching. Wow. And I thought the JFK Keko was too much for people. Welcome, everybody. There is no agency. So say we all. I gotta change it up, man. It seems I've completely and entirely colonized the mind of Pastor Paul Vanderclay. And I'll demonstrate that today for you with this now. Let's see. Oh, this is a good part.
A person, attention, love, agape. This is how human beings make persons through love and attention. Attention. It's all there is. Attention, worship. Paging, Peugeot, and Peterson. He could almost in real screens have become the alternative not only to family but to church. Our greatest hope of participation is viewing these crafted, edited images. How sad. Hashtag paintball for Jesus, @GrimGrizz, hashtag break the fourth wall.
How cool is that? How awesome is that to be so influential? Such a maven, such powerful wielding and wizardry. You better roll your savings throws. Or hey, let's roll your savings throws. You can pick between, you can base your save against this mind control on survival, social, wisdom, or heart. Oh, I muted that. You're not supposed to mute it. Shame on you. Survivalists get a 4. Socialists, a 10. Wisdom, 9, 18. Way to go. Heart, lucky number 13. Okay, so the deal is, this is really good. Yeah, Paul's doing this fancy pants A/B split testing, releasing 2 videos. One for the lightweight consumers, which is the argument for the utility of a father in heaven based on attention. And the second one is this longer one, which has the bonus clips for the hive mind. Shh. That's the one we're going into. I'm assuming there's just 8 more minutes. So we could just go to the last one, but I'm working on my stamina. And hey, Brad, good to see you. So we're doing it long style.
What you're about to see in this video is kind of a hodgepodge of a conversation about God, attention, and celebrity. Now, the point about God and attention was so profound by Mikhail Brockman's Twitter thread that I decided to end one video with it because I thought it was the proper conclusion. But I had more I wanted to say, so what I did was basically create the second video, which has this little front piece, and then the entirety of the second video, and then the after piece. So even though these are going to have different titles, different thumbnails, a good bit of the part in the middle is the same, and I think it's worth it. So,
which is a fancy way of saying if you watch this one, the other one is all the way up in here, embedded in your cognition, so you don't need to give the other one a view, but, you know, the algorithm would like it if you did. Okay, so we go to the commentary section, and we sorted by newest first. And then I can do it do it in order. Very useful. Thank you, top notch. By Dudley Schreiber. Got in before me. It's spirit entrainment a la brain entrainment, according to MMC Crownus. And then there's that bit about Milo, my holy phrases, and then 26. So up until 26, we're going to have to wing it.
Just be warned, I'm posting both of these videos the same day. When you hear a lot of repetition, here's the repetition. Hi, this is Paul. I want to talk about Rob Bell. I want to talk about attention. I want to talk about persons. And I want to talk about deconstruction. So Rob Bell, recently I noted in the video I just not able to remember.
What happened?
Meanwhile, Rob Bell, well, his Oprah gig didn't pan out. A lot of his gigs didn't pan out. He's doing podcasts. He's no longer writing books that anybody talks about. On Amazon, you can find a...
He's no longer writing books that anybody's talking about. Dang, dang, dang.
Documentary about Rob Bell called The Heretic, and the whole shtick of that heretic is about employing conservative evangelical rage against his squishy position on hell as articulated in Love Wins.
Remember, Embody, there is no agency. This section brought to you by Milo Yiannopoulos or something. I don't know how to say his name.
Substantial. But when you open it up, you can see the where the smoke comes out. Okay. But then when you get it, it's going to look like this, and you're going, well, I saw a picture of it, and it had a cross on the top. Well, for shipping, they take it off, and the waves in his hair and the looks on their faces.
They've all got good faces. They've all got good faces. He's got straps in these lovely Greco-Roman style sandals.
I mean, down
and
to
little
the
blue...
nth degree in detail.
Even on the necklace, I think you can see, I think it's like a Greek key kind of design or something around his neck. Mm-hmm. The feathers on the wings.
What is happening around his neck? What is happening around his neck?
So much of progressive evangelicalism is reactive and is basically analogous to Peugeot's parasitic storytelling. Once most authentic when they act in an extroverted manner, thus the opposite of their objective personality. Now, there's so many buzzwords in this, but we'll for the sake of not delaying the punch too much, let's keep it going.
Hey, St. Michael's in the house. Thank you for being virtually not alone with me, St. Michael.
The same is found for all of the big five personality traits. People high in neuroticism felt more authentic when acting in non-neurotic ways, and so forth. Yet another problem is that the true self was more about conformity and harmonious interaction than about standing up for one's unique beliefs. That has deconstruction written all over it, because, of course,
by C.S. Lewis, we should be as much of a dualist as the New Testament allows us to be.
Is that dual, D-U-A-L or D-U-E-L?
And I think that we should craft our image of the devil out of the strongest steel that we can stomach. And we should lean into a broader picture of his evil and his malevolence. Not because we enjoy that or we get something satisfying from thinking about these things, but because it makes the victory of Christ that much more meaningful.
The victory of Christ isn't the victory of the victory of Christ cannot be made more meaningful. It was complete, you ignorant.
The path of the righteous man is beset on all sides by the inequities of the selfish and the tyranny of evil men.
Where are we finding the template for our authenticity? But in these black mirror screens that has attracted our attention for a very long time now. Many
That's like, of the two things I preach, that's one of them.
researchers assume that being authentic meant being impervious to external influence, the buffered secret sacred self. The data indicates the opposite. People feel authentic when going along with external influences. Ooh.
We're inhabited by the Spirit of the Holy Ghost.
Paintball for Jesus, @GrimGrizz, hashtag break the fourth wall.
Yes, 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 yes.
Putting them into blog posts for people who don't have time to watch overly long, rambly videos. I would like to write something about how I found God to be very interesting and useful entity to relate to, but it's kind of weird. It started with a book recommended to me about a new metaphor for understanding Aquinas' modification of Aristotelian virtual ethics. Wow, this sounds wonky, but I assure you it's quite understandable. You have to explain it to a rubber ducky. You can ask, you can follow my tweet thread for that. The metaphor is based on the concept of joint attention from social recognition research, which is like the main thing that autistic children won't do with their parents. The meeting of minds that comes from playing together, looking together at something. The main thing that autistic children won't do with their parents. The meeting of minds that comes from playing together, looking together at something. Now, autistic
Hive mind? What are we doing right now?
autistic children won't do with their parents. The meeting of minds that comes from playing together, looking together at something. Now, autistic children, I've had some experience with love or judgment. So be careful, little eyes, what you see. Oh, be careful, little ears, what you hear. Oh, be careful, little ears, what you hear. Yes, there's a lot in that little song. Like I can physically hold the child in my lap and hold his hand as he walks into an icy road, and there's this kind of subtle joining in our joint attention, which happens through subtler attunements. And so I can also imagine that it's like a child. It's like for a child to have the presence of a safe caretaker, not only in terms of hand holding, but also this subtler guiding presence in the whole arena of attention and perception. I think long for and are fascinated by the kinds of transformations that human beings go through as God turns us into real boys, become human. The boy must risk his life to become a man. He must endure suffering. He must endure pain. That is the only path.
Blessed is he who in the name of charity and goodwill shepherds the weak through the valley of darkness, for he is truly his brother's keeper.
I think this is deeply tied to personhood. If you go back to my conversation with, oh no, I can't remember his name, but
Wait, where are you? Hey, look, look, it's you, the Hive Mind chat with D-Dod saying that she told to me yeah, it's we're paying attention together in the Hive Mind of chatting.
I do remember his face. He was deconstructing. He was an engineer. I told him we
There comes a time in your life when you throw Paul a bone. You throw Paul a bone. You throw Paul a bone. Here's the guy, he can't remember. You throw. Oh wait, I didn't yeah, you were supposed to be seeing this the whole time. Son of a. This is why you don't use studio mode. It's confusing.
Astoundingly powerful. We can use fancy Vervaeke words. That is an astoundingly powerful psychotechnology that is in fact doing a lot for millions of believers in Western Christianity right now. Now, I think part of what, you know, we can have another conversation because he's wrestling with this. How can you have a relationship with a personal God if you can't see the God?
All right, that was the wrong one, but it worked out really well, so don't tell anybody.
But we see patterns. And when people see God, whether it's T.H. Luhrmann writing about them, when people see God, it's because they're seeing patterns. And that's how we sort of mind read each other. We follow the patterns. And we learn to see the world through their eyes. We talk that way all the time, don't we? This is exactly what we're doing. So I can also...
If it would come up on automatic command at this point, I would lay in Paglia's, like, the men looking at the engine part.
Imagine what it's like for a child to have the presence of a safe caretaker. Oh, be careful, little eyes, what you see, for the Father up above. Not only in terms of hand-holding, but also as a subtler guiding presence in the whole arena of attention and perception. Of course, the point with Aquinas is that adult humans can have an analogous relation with the guiding parental presence they call God or Christ. Is that adult humans can have an analogous relation with the guiding parental presence they call God or Christ.
And the finder of lost children. And I will strike down upon thee with great vengeance and furious anger those who attempt to poison and destroy my brothers. And
path by which we are transformed. For whoever wishes to save his life will lose it, and whoever loses his life for my sake will find it. Almost especially interested in this because I basically researched the phenomenology of ADHD and how such attentional disorders could be thought of from a virtue ethical perspective, given that they seem to disrupt basic virtuous capacities. First, I looked at they seem to disrupt basic virtuous capacities. Perspective, given that they seem to disrupt basic virtuous capacities.
I think this is where I went in and said, maybe not. Let's find out.
A person, attention, love, agape. This is how human beings make persons through love and attention. Attention, it's all there is. Attention, worship. Paging, Peugeot, and Peterson.
Yeah, that is when I say there is no agency. Agency is what cares for the capacity to care. There is no agency. Remember, Embodied. So say we all. Ask me what Pavlov's... Oh,
pleasure and pain. Oh, haven't we heard that? Pavlov's dog. Ruff, ruff.
Let me tell you about Pavlov's dog, okay? This is the part where I'm telling you things you might not have heard or might not have thought before. So, by now, depending on how cognitively embedded you are in our indoctrination system. Pavlov's dogs. Pavlov's dogs will ring a bell for you. That is a social memory, because like just the amount of times you encounter it as a reference make it a hyper object, and it's a social memory, and the complex of those that form the it is known Khaleesi web of unspoken knowledge, and that's stored in aphorisms and sayings like this shadow web of knowledge that's maintained by the shadow matriarchy mainly. It makes everybody who participates in those in the society that uses that complex of social memories is basically one entity hive mind thingy. Oh, and they did what Pavlov did to dogs to children, and I've seen the pictures, and so every time you say Pavlov's dogs, instead of salivating, I see kids with saliva catchers drilled into the side of their face.
I began to wonder if Aristotelian tradition was the last word on the virtues, and whether such a relationship of extraordinary importance had been hidden from the learned and wise and revealed by mere children. Nice Jesus. Nice Jesus intimation there. Learned and wise and revealed by mere children. Nice Jesus. Haven't we heard that? Pavlov's dog. Ruff, ruff. I began to wonder if Aristotelian tradition was the last word on the virtues, and whether such a relationship of extraordinary importance had been hidden from the learned and wise and revealed by mere children.
And you will know my name is the Lord when I lay my vengeance upon thee.
This is normally the part where I would just end the stream and go away. To be honest, that's it was there. Hey, Magic, I felt it. It was like, this is when you cut water and stop, but cut bait and stop, right?
Nice Jesus. Nice Jesus intimation there. Aquinas, having subsumed Aristotle under the Christian theology, is able to discuss the habitual trained virtues alongside other qualities, such as transmitted in a different way, with immediacy that seems mysterious from a pagan perspective. Aquinas does acknowledge that we can acquire virtues in the Aristotelian manner by repeated good actions. He refers to such virtues as acquired. Aquinas also claims, however, that perfect virtues are not acquired, but infused in us by God. I think of Amy Grant. He has his father's eyes. What does that mean? So there's another kind of channel for acquiring good qualities, different from the worldly virtues of athletes or architect. And this channel is open right away, even for infants. Aquinas claims that even infants and the intellectually disabled can have infused virtues, since such persons have not had the opportunity to acquire Aristotelian virtues. These virtues are clearly not prerequisites to possessing the infused virtues. Now, I get questions about, why do you wear so many layers of clothing?
What, Paul, why do you wear so many layers of clothing?
In your office. Does it get cold in Sacramento? Yes, it's about 37 degrees out. I keep the church temperature low because why burn all this heat to heat an empty building? I'm sorry.
What's going on here? Why has the Department of Defense retracted all of their messages? Patty, did you ban the Department of Defense? Sir, that is a good way. Welcome. That is a good way to lose your wrench. Jesus, take the snitch.
Sorry, I'm ADHD. I think. I didn't get diagnosed as a kid. I don't
You
know
better
if they
fix
had it.
that, Patty.
So the gifts in Aquinas' system are qualities that emerge from being in a state of joint attention.
I mean, what agency do you work for that you come on here and insult members of the production executive shadow cabal? Did you know you could join the production executive shadow cabal? It's really just what I call my patrons. There's a link in the description sometimes.
To God, with God, not just to God, with God. And in many ways, I think this is part of what makes narrative, scripture, and poetry so powerful, because before we had visual media like film, visual storytelling, we had storytelling in narrative. And narrative is all about attention, because narrative is this compression engine that compresses the world down to salient components, and in a sense, certainly it is showing us things, but by showing us things, it is drawing our attention to specific things. And if you look at specifically how Hebrew narrative works, they're masters of helping us see what they see. That's their brilliance. The gifts in Aquinas' systems are qualities that emerge from being in a state of joint attention with God, where I can address God in the second person as you, even in the informal, thee and thou, which is the familiar, not the formal, because he is felt as present within my field of experience, not as an object, but as a cooperative subject.
Me and God are in this together.
Obviously come at this as a Calvinist. Part of
Blessed is he who in the name of charity and goodwill shepherds the weak through the valley of darkness, for he is truly his brother.
That guy. William Wallace, Irish guy. My God, says.
Him, that can't be William Wallace. I'm prettier than this man. All right, Father, I'll ask him. If I risk my neck for you, will I get a chance to kill Englishmen?
Is your father a ghost?
why does personhood always trump impersonality? Because we need it. Because that guides us. Because it's the only way we can live. One of my favorite and can take them into consideration in our evaluation and in our sanctification. So, in other words, if we can see scale, God can surely see it far greater than we can. And
Or do you converse with the Almighty?
In order to find his equal, an Irishman is forced to talk to God. Yes, Father. The Almighty says, don't change the subject, just answer the fucking question.
Mind your tongue.
illustrations of it comes from the movie Avatar, where, well, it's like the Force. It's this impersonal well of potential.
Look at this, Embodied. We got Toots and Magic and Patty J taking on the DOD. Saint Sartori in the house. Petcow was here. Now Sigma Dialectic is saying stuff.
Potentiality that I, with my personhood, with my power to direct my gaze, with my power to direct attention, my power to direct the attention of the deity towards, isn't that what prayer is? Oh God, have mercy on me. Draw your
There's a really great medium piece I wrote called like the eyes of God or the hand of God. I don't know, but it ties in real hot with what he's saying right there.
Attention to me. Oh God, where are you? Why aren't you looking at me? Jonah goes to the bottom of the sea. And
all right, fine, I'll show it to him. I'll read it to him. Fine. Amen.
Saying Irish.
everything powerful in the gospel is if you have the eyes to see apparent all throughout creation. Jesus uses the illustration only once, as Lewis points out. The grain of wheat the grain must fall into the ground to die in order to come to life, as we die in order to become like Christ.
All right, turns out I called it the eyes of God. I get copyright struck for that, Chad.
Smart enough to get a dagger past your guards, old man.
That's my
It was still... I gotta put it over here. So. It was still very dark. In the quiet still of the pre-dawn morning, Sesha balked at the warmth beneath her hands while shivering against the cold in the open-aired hut. As if in response to her shiver, or worse, because of it, a warm gush of blood surged around her fingers. Hold on. Hold on. The eyes come at dawn. First, the eyes see. Then the hands come. The hands of mercy. The hands of wrath. It was the hands of wrath that did this. It was wrong. The wedding had been sanctioned. It was because the heretic Jazad had to see his son's wedding that the hand struck. It was Jazad. He was why Mata was dying. Another gush, but less. Colder. She screamed and fled the hut. She screamed in the middle of the street. She spun around screaming and collapsed to her knees. The eyes saw. It was not yet dawn, but the eyes saw. The eyes always saw. What the locals confused for the eyes were the high-resolution, low-altitude broadcast blimps. The eyes had seen her dragging Mata into the hut. The strike on the wedding had not only been witnessed, but also broadcast to the tax-paying voyeurs. In fact, had there not been additional strikes at other locations being broadcast to the voyeurs, the little drama of Sesha and her wounded Mata might have garnered the views to warrant a dispatch of the hand of mercy. But there had been, and it wasn't. And so it wasn't until hours later, when in the stillness of pre-dawn that a screaming 12-year-old with blood-soaked hands caught enough eyeballs for broadcast intervention. Mata almost made it.
Calls out, don't forget your servant. It's attention. Noah is out in the midst of the renewed tohu wavohu sea. And God remembered Noah right at the middle of the story. It's the turning point in the story. It's divine attention